right, good morning, all. Let me get the glasses off here. Welcome to Coffee and Craps. Happy Friday. Happy birthday to my wife. That's why I'm late today. We had it's Kat's birthday, and my daughter was out getting her coffee for her birthday, so I had to make sure that the dog and Kathy were kept away from the front door and all that kind of stuff. So happy day in our house. So anyway, here we are. So today, the name of the game here is playing as a team, but I should probably change that because that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about today is playing stress-free. And this is going to lead us into next week, where I want to get into playing with house money. So we're going to call this stress-free playing. So you're seeing the soup get made here. So yeah, stress-free playing. What I really want to do, though, is talk, and I hope Brian comes today. I'm not sure if he's here yet. I see, oh, there he is. Brian, hey, man. I want to talk about Brian's new strategy. The HP, the high performance, the high probability. It's designed to help you to play stress-free. And when Ken Knows Gambling watches this, which he will not do live, of course, because of his job, he'll love it because he's a stress-free kind of player too. So this is a hedging strategy. So I don't normally love a lot of hedging. There's a lot of moving parts to hedging usually, and B, it's a grind, right? You're gonna win less than you think you win. It takes harder. It's harder to get profits, especially on really bad rolls. Today I'm going to play it out though. I'm going to show you the way Brian does this, and I made a little bit of a modification to it. I just amped it up a little bit, Brian, just because I want a little bit more action on the come out rolls. So. Yeah, with that said, stress-free Friday. We're not going to do a lot of talking today. I'm just going to go to the table. We're going to roll this thing out. I'm going to try and explain it to you. There's a little bit to it, so you have to bear with me as I explain what's going on here, and then I'll explain my ramp up to it as well. So again, Brian, this is about your strategy today, so hopefully you'll be able to stick around for us. Make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat before we get going. Yeah. So with that said, the other announcement that I've got is, again, clarity on the fundraiser. I'm locking in on Thanksgiving weekend, so I'm going to actually start publishing and talking about it. It's going to be done the 27th and 28th, which is Saturday, Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend. So we're going to go from 6 p.m. Saturday to 6 p.m. Sunday. At this point, I've got 12 famous YouTube personalities lined up to help me out. We have an hour scheduled with each of them. I have not talked to them about what hour they're going to do and what we're going to do in those hours, but we're going to basically spend an hour with everybody doing whatever that person wants to do. I have some plans, obviously. I'm planning to do a couple of mini tournaments. I'm planning to do, I can't really announce this one yet, but there's going to be a tournament that runs through the entire 24 hours. We're going to have a 24-hour long tournament that you can kind of jump into and jump out of. So it's going to be really, really, really fun. It's going to be hard, obviously, but I think it's going to be a worthwhile thing. So bookmark that day, save the date, and save some money. We're going to do one person. I can tell you this. I'll give you a little teaser here. I'll more details to come, but one person I believe that you're aware of is going to auction off for part of this charity, auction off a felt that they used to use on their channel that no longer is being used. So that might be something cool to have. A little piece of YouTube Craps history is going to be available to us. So that's going to be awesome. I can't wait to start giving details out. Probably next week I'll start doling out some of what's coming on. So with that said, let's go back to the table and let's find a stress-free way to play. Now again, every strategy has some level of stress because every strategy loses. Every strategy can win, can lose. There's conditions around all of that. This one has got many conditions to it. So we're going to have to take some time and really explain all the requisite parts to it as we go through it. But I think you're going to like it when it's all said and done. This is sort of if you think about the old back wall that I was teaching, it's a play on that, because if you picture the back wall lay with a don't pass, and if you can beat the back wall or beat the come out roll, you have a don't pass bet that's worth whatever it's worth. And then you can start betting on the inside. This strategy takes that and applies a little bit more to it, and it also targets what you're going to do on the box numbers when you get done. So let's go ahead and go back to the table, and we'll get it rolling here. So let me get the throwing table. Hopefully we can see all the tables here. I've not yet dialed things in. There we go. All right, so today when I do this, we're gonna have to, unfortunately, this is the, how do I say this right? This is the bad part of the camera angle that I've chosen. So I moved the camera angle last week, or earlier in the week, we talked about it. Today I'm gonna need the horn area. So you're not gonna get to see the horn bet. So I'm gonna use other parts of my layout to kind of mimic where the horn would be. So let me turn the lights on here too. So forgive me for that. I didn't have time this morning with all the birthday happenings to reset the camera. So I'll use the field to capture part of this bet, and I'll use the come area to capture a different part of the bet just so you can see it. So with that said, what Brian's trying to do here is get out of the gate. So Brian, I'll keep referring back to chat if I get this wrong, you can let me know. But what we're trying to do is get out of the gate. I'll leave my rack alone for the time being, but we're gonna put 60 bucks in the don't pass. And I'll spread these bets out just so you can see the chips easier as I go here. So 60 bucks in the don't pass. The don't pass, as we know, is the best bet on the table once you beat the come out roll. But it's at risk. This is at risk to the 7 when we're coming out. And that makes the don't pass bet the hardest bet to get live. But once it's live, it's got a great advantage. So what Brian's trying to do here is how do we get the come out roll to be somewhat safe? What's the safety net behind that? So here's the safety net as I remember it. So we're gonna have 3 bets on the 7. Okay, any one of those 3 bets hit. Okay, you're gonna have 5 times 15. That's gonna pay 75 bucks. So if the 7 rolls out right now, you're gonna get paid $75 for one of those bets. He also puts 5 bucks on the yo, because the 2 things that beat you on the come out are the 7 and the 11 from the don't pass. So both of those bets pay you around 75 bucks. If the yo happens to hit, this pays 75 bucks. You'll lose your 60 and you'll lose your 7. So you're gonna lose 75 bucks, and that's a wash. So it ends up being not a big deal to lose or to have the yo come. Doesn't hurt you, okay? If the 7 comes, again, you're gonna win 75 for one of those. You're gonna lose 3 of those chips, but you'll still have your don't pass bet. So your don't pass bet here becomes a little bit less effective, if that makes sense, because you've lost money getting it set. So it was 60 bucks, but you're losing 20 bucks to get this thing open and available, which means it's really only worth 40 bucks at the end. We gotta remember that. The other part of the strategy that Brian's doing, which I really like a lot, is that he's dropping a buck on the 12. And it's over here in the horn area, which you can't see. I'll be using this part of my layout to put the bet on the 12. So we've got $21 at risk on the come out roll. If everything works out perfectly, which we'd love to see, and you get some number hit, let's say it's the 5, it doesn't matter, actually 5's fine. Whatever the number happens to be, the result of that is gonna be the obvious. You're gonna lose these 4 bets. You're gonna lose 21 bucks automatically getting the point set. No different than the back wall lay, except for it's 21 instead of 30, okay? So you're giving up out of the gate a $21 loss just to get yourself set up. But once you're set up here, now you roll out and say, well, we're gonna go ahead and take 18 bucks on the 6, 18 bucks on the 8, that's too much money. That's $36. I have too many ones there. 36 bucks on the 6 and 8 combined. And you've got the 21 that you lost. And adding all that up, 36 plus 21 is, how much is that? $57. So if the 7 were to come at this point, you lose those, you win here, you win $3, okay? It's a wash. This is a total push on the PSO. Actually, it's a push unless one thing happens. And where's the hole in the strategy? Y'all can see the hole. The hole is gonna be right there at the point. So what you're praying for in this strategy, as every don't player prays for, is the point doesn't get hit. So that's the one downside here is you're fighting the point, which is fine. That's craps. You're fighting something every rolling crap. So that's what we've decided to do here, is fight the point. So at risk is 60 on the point. If you win the 6 and the 8, now you start to see where the math is going to make sense, because 6 and 8, they each pay 21 bucks, which just so happens to be exactly what you would have lost getting your points set. So the first hit of the 6 or the 8 directly pays for your loss. And now you're effectively even. After one hit, your don't pass bet is now again worth $60. That's the idea. So once you get one hit on either the 6 or the 8, the two most likely numbers to hit, you've paid back your loss to get the bet set, and now you're in a position where you have to start playing to win. Okay? Then you can play as you see fit. And I'll just kind of leave this out here, Brian. Yeah, Sean, I will expand the landing on. I explained earlier, I actually didn't have time to reset my camera this morning. When I realized I needed the hops area, I ended up realizing that I'm like, oh no. And to get my camera reset, I need a ladder. So I got to move things around. So I'll make sure that in future days where I do this, I have an easier setup for that. All right, so that's the setup. It's hopping the 7s for 15, 5 each. It's the yo being hopped for 5. It's the 12 being hopped for 1. $21 guaranteed loss. $18 6 and 8. And you play for one shot. You play for one shot to break yourself even on that come out, getting your number set. You're okay on the 7. You're just not okay on whatever the point happens to be. If the 6 or 8 becomes the point, you just go $15 on the 5 or the 9, whatever you want to do. That's the essentials of this strategy. It's really cool and really safe, and I like most of that. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to alter it just a tad, and what I'm going to do is just up the numbers a little bit, and I'm going to require. It's the exact same setup. My math is a little bit different though. I tend to be a little bit more aggressive when I'm hopping the come out. That's just my way of playing it. When I do hedging, I like to find a way to make the hedges win. Now it's going to cost me more money to do this, but I want my hedges to win a little bit. So I have some coffee here. So what I'm going to do is I think I've got 150, and I'll count these out for you. There should be 50, 50, and 5. So it's 205 is the spread per shooter. Not all of that will be at risk. So it looks like it's a lot of money. It is, but it's not going to all be at risk. What we're going to do is I'm going to grab 100 on the don't pass. We're going to go ahead and grab $10. There's 2, 2, and 2 on the 7s. We're going to hop, and I can use this over here if you can see it. I can hop the 7s over here for you. So they're still in view of the camera. I think you can see that. We're going to go ahead and get a $10 yo, and we're going to get a $12, or I'm sorry, a $5 12. Okay, that's going to be our spread coming out. I've got 60 bucks left. What I'm going to do with the 60 bucks? $30 6, $30 8 after the point's established. The difference with this and Brian is the math. Okay, on a 7, a come out 7, what's going to happen? You will lose. This spread out here is 45 bucks. You're going to lose 40 because one of your 7s will win. I'll put these out here for you. You'll lose 35 bucks plus 100 on the 7. You lose 135 on the 7, but the $10 pays 150. So your net on a 7, 15 bucks up to the good. That's a little bit okay with that, right? If, let's say, the yo rolls, I'll put the 7s here in the middle, and we're on the yo. If the yo rolls, again, you're going to lose the 100. You're going to lose all 3 of your 7s, 30 bucks. You're going to lose your 12. So you're going to, again, lose 1, 10, 20, 35. 2 of those pays 150. So again, you're ahead of the game on the yo. You're going to win a pittance, right? You're going to end up winning whatever that is, 15 bucks again on the yo. I'm okay with winning. Anytime I can win, I'll take it. And finally, if the 12 happens to roll, and again, we'll put this money back out, the 12 rolls, the same thing happens, but you don't lose your don't pass. Don't pass becomes a push on a 12, and you will lose, actually, the 12 is the one case, right? You'll push here, so nothing happens to that bet. You will lose 40 from the yo and the 3 7s, but you're going to win 150 on that bet on the 12. So that ends up netting you $110. It's actually a pretty good pretty good win there on the yo. I like that one a little. I'm sorry, it's yeah, it's 150. Yeah, so you're gonna win on that one pretty good. And of course, the two or the three, same situation. The 2 or the 3, you're getting paid 100 here. So you'll lose the 45, but you'll win 100 there, so you're up 65. So on all of the craps numbers, you end up being ahead. There's never a case where you lose on the come out roll other than a point being set. And when a point gets set again, you're gonna lose for sure the 45 bucks every single time that a point gets set. And that kind of sucks, right? It kind of sucks to say, well, I'm gonna donate 45 bucks to the house every single time. But if you do that, what's the worst that can happen? Let's say again, we get a point and they 7 out right away. On a 0.7 out, you would have lost the 45 to get here. You're gonna lose the 60, so that's 105. You're gonna win 100. So you're only down 5 bucks on a 0.7 out. Not the end of the world. However, if you can get a hit here, what we'll do is I'll pay the hits in reds. If you get a hit, it's 35 bucks on either one of those numbers. And what I would do is this. We'll say, let's take this down. We'll take 35, $45. There's 45 bucks. That pays for what you just did to get out of the gate. So one hit pays for your 45 that you lost, and you've got $50 sitting here, which if you took it in reds, can be used now to go and grab the inside numbers. 15, 6, and 8. We'll take 5. We'll make these look like 18. I do have some money in my rack here, some extra ones, just to make this move. And with one hit at the $30 level on the 6 and the 8, you've paid for what got you there. You've evened up the power of your don't pass bet by paying the 45 that you lost, and you've regressed down to $15 level in one hit. So now all you got to do is whack those numbers in there a couple of times and you start earning profits. So the idea here is to survive one roll or get one roll on the 6 or 8 so that you can regress down and now you start playing craps. So it takes you a couple of shots to get there. You got to beat the come out roll. Obviously, we got that solved. The next step is to get one of the 6 or 8 numbers. And again, Brian sets this up with the 6 and the 8 as the highest probability. So the highest probability to happen is to win on this bet after the come out roll. The highest probability is to win on some of these numbers in here during the point cycle. And if you can win a couple of numbers in here, now you have options. You can press, you can spread out, you can do whatever you want to, but I give myself an extra target, being the 5 or the 9 or whatever I choose to do. If your name is Waylon, you're probably taking, going to the 4 with it or something, right? And maybe, whatever. This is what the strategy Brian proposes works. Highest probability, highest performance, and it's high safety. So that's the strategy. That's the way that I'm going to play. So yeah, I'm risking 45 bucks. And it's going to be a loss most of the time. You're right. But really what I'm risking, Waylon, honestly, is 5 bucks. You're risking the 5 on the PSO. You're risking the point being hit immediately. That's the biggest choke point, I think. You're going to grind in that area for a little while. Where you take the big risk is if the point gets re-hit, you lose the whole 100. And I'll show you the way that I play that if that should happen. I'm hoping that it doesn't happen, but let's go ahead and see this. And so PJ, you're saying what I say all the time, right? It's definitely, when you hedge stuff like this, I got to reset the KPIs. Thank you for that, Jeff. Everybody, let's go get my phone out. I got to do it here on the screen. So what the screen's going to go a little bit haywire for a minute. We'll reset that, and we'll come back to our display. That should fix it. Okay, they should be zeroed out here in a second. There they go. Right? Why is the right side not zeroing out? There it goes. It just took it a minute. All right, here we go. So I will roll this out. Now, for all disclosure, I was rolling this out last night, and I think I had out of 10 shooters, I might have had 2 rolls that got past 3. When I changed out the underlayment and I went with the cork here, it is just producing 7s like I've never seen before. So hopefully today's rollout won't be a 7 fest. That's kind of my worst nightmare here. We'll see if we can get past that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get input and get my phone set up so we can take the counts. And I will get this put back where it was, and we're gonna play it just like that. We're gonna hedge our come out. And again, what I'll do here is, let's get the 45 back out there. I'll put the 60 back in my rack. And here's our setup again, per shooter. 60 bucks waiting to go out in the 6 and the 8. 45 bucks, I'm gonna drop 5 on the 12. Sorry about the camera shake. We're gonna drop, I'll put the 7s in the middle, and we'll put the yo right there. So you can see, there's our hop 7s, there's our yo, there's our 12. Here's our dice. 60 bucks is in waiting to go out. It's 205 per shooter. Guaranteed loss of 45 bucks coming out. Guaranteed loss of $5 on the PSO, but potential to grow this thing up and get to foundation, which is always what Brian's talking about. Get you to the foundation. So here we go. I'm gonna do minimal dice setting. I'm just gonna set the 2V. I'm gonna throw it backhand style, but I'm not gonna be uber diligent today about great timing or anything else. So there's our come out 7. Let's log that up. We'll go ahead and mark this out here. So again, we're gonna have to go through the motions every time. I told you this the other day when we talked about how do you practice. You have to take your money off the table every single time. So you're gonna have to say, well, it sucks, but there's the yo, there's the 12, there's 2 of the hop 7s. So we're out 35 bucks. That over there is gonna pay we're gonna lose our $100 as well. So there's our come out 7. We got whacked, it looks like. We're gonna get paid 100. I'll put it right back where it belongs, and 50 on that bet, which means we can replace the 2 7s that lost. We can replace our $10 on the yo, our $5 on the 12, and we can put $15 into our rack. So on a come out 7, the back wall lay would have paid you 114. This one pays you 15. It's not, we're not going for payment here on the come out 7. We're going for protection. And like I said, when I was doing the math on this thing last night, my goal was, usually is when I'm hedging come outs like this, I don't like pure even money where it's all a wash. I'll take a pittance. 15 bucks is 15 bucks. I like to kind of get out of the gate with a little bit of money if I have to hedge. So there's another come out 7. And again, we'll do the exact same machinery. We'll take the 35 bucks away. We'll take our 100 away. We're gonna get paid another 100. And there is 150. And again, we'll put the 2 7s that we lost back in place. We'll put the 12 back in place. We'll put the yo back in place, and we'll rack another set of 3 reds. So we're 30 bucks to the good already, which is good because if you think about the risk factor we're gonna have with that 6 and the 8, when they're out there waiting for them to be hit, we actually have one of those bets kind of paid for already with this come out. This is great. So we are on the 10. That's a 6-4, 10. I'll move the puck. We will lose all 45 bucks coming out. Boom. $45 goes bye-bye. $60 goes out. Sorry, my chips were backwards in my rack. There's 60 bucks coming out. So at this point, doing the math, we lost 45. We have 60 bucks at risk. If a 7 comes here, we're down 5 bucks. It's gonna cost you 5 bucks if you have a come out 7. If we have a 10 that shows up, we're gonna get whacked down here. We're gonna lose the entire don't pass, right? So we have 5 bucks at risk until we hit the 6 or the 8, and then we can do our little regression here and get this thing out. So I think I missed a couple of rolls there. So let's get the roll tracker going. There's a 7. The last roll was a 10. And doesn't it always seem to work out that when I'm not talking about the back wall lay, I roll 2 come out 7s in a row? That's exactly what you'd expect to happen. Here we go. We're gonna go ahead and set them up. Knock them down here. Here, let's go. Yeah, that cork is tough stuff. And of course, right, we end up with the worst possible case out of the gate. 6, 4, 10. So we lose our 100. Now this is the risk, the don't pass player faces that risk all the time, right? You're always at risk to lose whatever the point was. So you're gonna have to kind of wear that loss. That's not an indictment of this strategy. That's just don't play in general. The 10 is the least likely number to hit. Highest probability of winning this don't pass was just now, and I threw 2 10s in a row, which is unfortunate, but again, that's craps for you, especially when you're live in front of millions of people. So Puck is off. What I'm going to do, and Brian, I'm going to defer to you over here. I'll walk back over to the comments, and I want to know, before I tell you what I would do, I want to know what you would do. What is Brian doing right now? Are you resetting the come out, or are you not? I would not reset the come out. In my way of playing this, I allotted the 210 for the shooter, and I burned $100 of it. So I'm not going to go into my rack looking for another $100, which of course I don't have. But if I had my rack set up with all the chips, I would have another $100 in there, right? I'm not going back for more. The shooter already beat me on that 7. I'm kind of done with that 7. Totally, Brian. I do change all the probabilities when I throw. So I'm going to come back out here and just get a new number. I'm going to bypass the come out roll. It's going to be a 3, which is unfortunate because it would have won us $100 back here. But again, when you're playing with per shooter money, there's a 7 that would have won us $15. Let's log those in. It's a 2. Wow. That is so it was a 3, and then it was a 7. When you're playing with per shooter, another 3. My goodness gracious, we should be out there on the don't pass. We would have made $200 already. Bad decision making by me, I guess. But my point is, if you've allotted money per shooter, you got to stick to it. That's the discipline part of this whole thing. And yeah, having discipline in this case cost me a couple of hits. So be it, right? So be it. I didn't want to put $200 from or $100 from a different shooter's allotment at risk. I'm going to play this thing out. Brian, I'll turn my back here and see what you would have done. Let's see. You would go at it one more time. Okay. Well, I would have gone at it 0 more times, obviously, and it cost me money. But it's fine. It's a good lesson to learn, right? This is the point of discipline. We talked about fear of missing out the other day, right? And I can sit here and say, well, if I could have, I would have won. That's okay. You have to be willing to accept the fact that not every decision you make is going to be a good one. And that's going to be okay. So here we go. We're going to come out. Now we're on the 9. I've got to earn money now, right? That $60 out there has got to do work. We're going to have a nice long roll here, hopefully to make some cash back and get us rolling, getting us to pay for the don't. That's a 10, which does nothing for us. Let's mark that up. That was a long roll. I hit the back wall directly, which is a hard 4. So I can feel the heat. So what you don't know, guys, is that behind me is where the screen is, and I can feel my neck getting hot because Waylon's screaming at his monitor right now. Why aren't you on the 4 and 10? Yeah, like I said, not every decision you make is going to be one that matches what the dice want you to do. You have to live with that. There's the 7 out. So we ended up losing. That was a 5-2-7, by the way, that rolled on me. We ended up getting completely wasted on that roll, right? But that's the thing. When you say you're going to come with 10 shooters worth of money, this is why. Because you can absolutely, and I will always run into the worst case scenario. So let's go ahead and run this out again. Let's see if we have a better result here. Coming out. Now, again, I'm going to reset my money. So there's the 60 for the 6 and the 8. There's 100 for the don't. And here's the 45 for the come out hedging. 30 on the 7s, 10 on the yo, 5 on the 12. This time, Brian, if I get whacked off the don't pass, I'll come back out with the $100. It'll probably cost me money because it's me, but that's probably the right thing to do in your situation. I want to make sure we're playing this the way that you would play it. There's a come out 6, so not the greatest for the don't. We'll lose the 45. This $60 will end up being a $30 8, and I'll put it on the 5. 6 will be our point. And we'll have $5 in our rack just kind of sitting there. Now, it's time to fight. Now we got to go ahead and get, oh, I took the 5 down, sorry. We need a 5 or an 8 to come so we can get our regression down and pay for that outside, for the initial gambit. Here we go. That's a 12 midnight boxcars. It does nothing for us. Let's mark that up. Okay, here we go, coming out. Not a bad looking roll, actually. Of course, it was a 7. As I say that out of my mouth, it comes up. But this is okay. You end up losing the 55. You get paid 100 here. And the net result of that is going to be a $1 or a $5 win. I'll show you how that works out. There's the 100. I'll pay that in reds to replenish everything. And the way it works out is we're going to take this $100. We're going to replace the 12. We'll replace the 7s. We'll replace the yo. And what I've got left here is the 55 bucks that I had out there. The 6, the 5, and the 8. We're at 30 and 25. So I have the exact 55 that I rolled out with. And we're right back where we were on that roll. The come out, or the 0.7 out didn't hurt us even a little bit, which is okay. Here we go, coming out. That's going to be a 9 this time. And again, we're going to lose the 45. We're going to roll out with the 6 and the 8 at 30 bucks. And let's see if we can't get this cork to behave and give us one shot. One hit that we can regress with. So that was a 7 followed by a 9. Here we go. Come on, dice. Be nice, dice. Be nice for Brian. Oh my God, we did it again. Are you kidding me? Another 7 right out of the gate. It's another, wow. Did yesterday was the day that I rolled like 11 7s or something like that? My God. We're just getting crushed on that, right? But that's okay, right? You're gonna lose the $100. Now this time, I'm gonna go ahead, I'll put that here that'll be our bank. Let's put another 100 out. Okay, so we're gonna lose, I'm sorry, we don't lose that 100, we win 100 there. And again, I'll pay that 100 with greens and reds. So there's the 100 that we would have won on the come out. I got that all wrong. We lost our, I just got messed up in my head. We lost $5, right? We're back to where we were. Pay the $100 here, so we have the 60, and we're gonna be down 5 for these. My bad, I got myself lost. There's the E. We'll need to grab 5 out of our phantom rack over here. Again, I'm not running a full rack today. I'm just kind of doing over and over again. I will note here in the don't pass sidebar that we did lose one whole thing one time. So I think it's important to note how often this thing wins or loses. Let's come back out. Point's going to be a 4. There's the 4. And again, we'll lose the 45. We're going to place the 6 and the 8. High probability, except for when I'm rolling apparently. And here we go, coming out. Let's get a good number here. Dice are out. That's going to be an 8. Oh, good. There's the 6, 2, 8, which pays, and I will pay this in reds. It pays $35, so there's 35. We're going to bring these down. I'm going to go ahead and get an inside series here. So 15 on each. Yeah. And I'm down from before, so that's where my money went. Let's go ahead and grab these here. Let's go to $18. All right, so the regression paid for. We're down 10 because we lost earlier. Fine. We have our inside regression paid for. We need to get a couple more hits in here to get the deck square with the 45 that we lost. And I want to see those bets up there paid for as well. So let's roll on that. There's a 6, which is awesome. Okay, so 6 is going to pay $21. Now we have a choice to make. Same bet it or press it up. At this stage here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and same bet it only because we need to replenish the rack here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this in. There's the $60 that we would go out with on the next shooter. I have $10 towards the 45 that I need to come out on the come out roll. So I need another couple of hits here to get that 45 squared up. What I might do if I'm rolling well here, is to double tap up in here and get a number pressed up and then pulled down. So there's a 9, which does no good for us. I got to log that 6 though. It's going to be a 4. Sorry, I'm late here. 4 there. A 6 here, followed by a 9. Oh man, hit the back wall directly. Yikes. Another 9, back-to-back 9s. Got lucky on that one. That was a potential nightmare there. Look at me. I got like 4 rolls in a row that aren't 7s. That's pretty awesome. Here we go. Dice are out. Midnight. Still learning the energy required to get dice to stop on this cork. It's definitely a challenging surface to throw on. I can tell you that. You just look at that thing. That thing bounced way over the back wall. It's a 3rd 9 in a row. Goodness gracious. I should be moving the 5 over. After the second one, I probably should have moved it. Here we go. There's an 8. That's awesome. All right, so the 8 pays 21. Okay, so we have choices here. We can pull the 21 back, and we're closer to being even for our next come out. That's making me feel safer to do that versus spreading out. Could very easily, though, take 15 of that and pick up the 9 and become a full inside better. That does leave us open here. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and spread it out just so you can see how you can grow stuff out. Again, you're getting to what Brian would call this being the foundation. The foundation is to be an inside bet, right? And bad timing, of course. There's our 7. You knew it was coming. The 7's looming after 4 or 5 rolls like that. So that's what'll happen. So let's go ahead and log those 2 rolls in. There was the 6, followed by the 7. And in the grand scheme of things, not a big deal, right? We're going to lose up here, but that was our regression. We lost our regressed bets. Not a big deal. We're going to win 100 down there. The net effect of that, I'll pay that back in reds. This is where hedging, I know PJ is going to be screaming at the phone too. You don't win when you hedge, right? Let's look at what happens here. You win 100 on the don't. We're going to go back and replace our come out gambit. I have 55 bucks left, right? Here's a 60 that I needed from before. If you look at what I've got here, I'm actually a little bit ahead. There's 25, 35, 45 bucks. This covers that, right? I'm already covered for the next shot, and I've got a quarter over here. So yeah, we had a nice roll there where I had all those 9s and I made 0 money on it. But this strategy, again, is a safe strategy designed to play when things are random, right? There's a come out 6. We lose everything here, right? If you play it according to the way that Brian lays this thing out, you're going to go by the highest probability bets, 6 and 8. We're going to go with a 5. I should go with the 9. I learned my lesson from last time. So we have actually that's all juice from before. Here we go. Let's get a good resolution here. Let's make some money, and we'll call it a day. There's a 9. That was a good decision, John. Seeing what kind of pocket I'm in here. That's 35. I'll pay that in reds again. There's 25, 35 bucks in red. We're going to pull those down. We're going to go 5, 8, and 9. We'll bring 50 to the rack. I need to grab a buck out of the bank here. We'll put that in and get 2 change. All right, now we're set up. We've regressed ourselves down. We've guaranteed ourselves, at the very least, the 45 bucks that we lost coming out. So we're already good there. Now I just want to go ahead and win that 60 bucks back and start showing profit. And you know it. There it is. Let's log the point. Let's log the 9. And let's log that 7. Let's call it there because it's time. I got to get back to work. Let's run back here. I'll let you see my face again. Let's go to me. All right. So, not the best rollout, of course. Matter of fact, let's have fun. Let's look at the summary of the rollout. This should One. I do throw more sevens than Greg. And you know what? Honestly, I don't normally do that. I don't. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking through the scene. The scene that had the stats on it. One thing you should know there is that I had so many more sevens. I had 8 sevens instead of the expected number of 4, and I had 5 PSOs versus the expected number of 3. It's unbelievable how many sevens I threw today. But that happens, right? These strategies that we put out there, all of us, we practice them, we put them out. And Brian, I love you to death. The strategy should work. It should work, right? Lights shining off my head there. The strategy should work, right? You should be able to come out to a point, place 6 and 8 for $30, and have at least 2 hits on one of your numbers off. You should have a hit on the 6 or the 8, a hit on something else, and a hit on something else, and be able to get out. Not today. Never got it done today. Now, practicing this thing all week long, I've hit that more times than not, where I've gotten 6, 7 rolls and spread out across and been able to make some money with it. Today it didn't work out. But one time we got beat. One time we hit the point of 10 and lost 100 on the don't pass. Every other time, the 7 out only cost us $5 or $0. And we actually made like $45 on the come out a couple of times. It's not bad. Right? It's not a bad way to play. Hedging keeps you alive. And as you can see, let's play this out in our heads. Had the last roll not been an early 7, had the last roll gone 10, I would have regressed down as I was regressed. And you have potentially 6 or 7 point hits in the middle there to press up and pull back to your rack. You can easily make a few $100 doing this. So it can work if the dice cooperate. Today the dice did not cooperate. So yeah, so here's PJ, and I'm going to put your notes there because I think it's interesting. There's lots of, and I joke about this kind of stuff all the time, right? I know that Waylon's back there telling me I need to be on the 4 and the 10 or the 9. Skill and luck, got the 9. If you did your no 9 strategy, you would have gotten screwed there. And PJ says all the time, hedging or pick a side. I think your nickname to me is going to be pick a side, PJ, because you're always telling me to pick a side, right? This is an example of why picking a side here would have destroyed some people, right? If you're a right side better, picking a side would have crushed you. Picking the don't side, you would have made a fortune. All those early 7s and that one come out sequence where I had three craps numbers or 2 craps numbers and a 7, would have made good money there if you picked a side. But again, Brian's strategy here is thinking here, and I'll speak for you, Brian. You can type in if I'm wrong. Your goal here is not to pick a side on this strategy. This strategy is to get you out of the gate, have a don't pass bet that's big enough to protect your inside play so that when this happens, and this does happen at the live tables, you don't get hurt. You don't get hurt. You don't get hurt. You don't get hurt. Somebody goes off on a long roll, and now you still have money in your rack, and you don't get hurt 10 times in a row, and you grind for 10 times in a row. And then when the person does make it, you're still there. You have money in the rack. You've regressed down and gone across. Now you're in a position to take advantage of the good roll when it comes, but this won't hurt you. You will get hurt on the point being hit. That's the one soft spot in this whole thing. Anyway, so that's that. That's the strategy. Brian, I really like the strategy. As far as a thing I would play, and again, you know me, guys, right? I'm doing this dice control series, right? And I will tell you that dice controllers make the most mistakes. They lose the most money when they overbet themselves, when they overbet their own skill, right? That's the number one problem with dice control is not what you're doing with the dice. It's that people bet like maniacs on themselves when they don't have the skills to warrant that kind of betting. I'm a defender of that. When I have the dice, I bet a little higher. I kind of feel like I know how I throw. So I do things that are going to be conducive to the way that I throw the dice. This is a great strategy to run when you don't know what to expect. When you have somebody out there that you just don't know. I don't want to call them, chicken feeders or random rollers or whatever offensive term you can think of. It's not the point. The point is, if I don't have any clue what's going to happen, right? If I don't know the shooter, if I don't know the pocket, like today I was in the pocket of 9s there. If I don't know that that's going to happen, this is a safe way to get out and get yourself set up so that if somebody does break probability, which does happen, you're in a good position to capitalize on it. This is all about capitalizing and lasting until you get there. So good job, Brian. I think it's a really cool, a really cool, a really cool strategy. And yeah, you actually put it out here. I'll share this on screen so that future viewers can watch this. It's a low risk that allows opportunities, and it's very low risk, right? The worst that can happen, right? The worst that can happen is what happened the one time. I lost 45 bucks coming out. I lost 100 on the subsequent point being hit. That happens, right? But the worst case, 145 bucks, right? If you bring in enough money, 1,000 or 1,500, that's a small part of your bankroll. It's one event over the course of hopefully 10 or 15 or 20 shooters. And you can survive that one event if you get a couple of good spikes in there. This does give you great opportunity to be there when a good roll happens. I missed out on some stuff, right? I missed out on stuff. I missed out on the come outs, and Brian corrected me. He would have gone out. I don't go out when a shooter burns me like that. But it cost me. I missed out on all the nines in that one roll. And again, fear of missing out. You can't have fear of missing out if you're sticking to your strategy. Discipline and winning at this game long-term requires discipline. And discipline does not mean, oh shit, I better start moving my money around because I saw something, right? Discipline is stick to this strategy. This strategy you cannot vary. You cannot have any variance other than moving a bet from here to here. You can't just go and add money into it, chasing numbers around, right? Trends are so short-term like that. A trend on a single number is not the kind of trend that I'm hunting. I'm hunting trends of groups like, oh, a lot of horn numbers. Oh, a lot of sevens, not the 9. I don't follow a single number as a trend. That's why I didn't move my bet over. Even though it might have been the statistical right play to do based on what you saw, I'm just not doing it. I'm sticking to strategy. I'm going to roll it out like that. I think that Brian and I would agree that you've got to have discipline here. And this strategy is made for math. It's a 100% math strategy, and that's it. Now, me, the amount of sevens that I roll here on this new cork surface, somebody wrote it earlier. I think they said take the odds. Totally, I should be taking odds, right? If I had more bankroll, I would take odds. But when I'm practicing a strategy like this, and again, I want to close out the session by saying this. The way that I practice, and you saw what I do here, I put the money out every single time. I pull the money back to the rack or to the bank every single time I lose it. I reset the whole thing so I can see it in action. When I practice, though, I don't normally do a full bankroll. You'll see that I pull out the 205 I needed here. I play the 205, and I note how many times it wins or loses or how much that session won or lost, and then I reset to 0, do it again, and I evaluate the strategies as I play them on one shooter at a time and just in isolation, because I want to see, on a per shooter basis, how many times do I win or lose? Not how much money does the whole thing win. That's the way that I judge things. So again, I think that's what makes me me. It's the way that I approach things. I really get myopic about how is the strategy doing without looking at the totality of the bankroll. Because one shooter that goes off and wins you $1,000, 10 shooters that lost you 50 bucks, gives you a false sense of how that strategy played out. So that's the way that I evaluate it. Hopefully that works. That works well. So on this strategy, I'm not sure if you guys are talking about what I'm doing here, but in this strategy, the worst case row of 7-11s on the come out, it is unlikely to see this. And that's why I ramped the numbers up, Brian. So the reason why I ramped you up a little bit was because I want to profit on the 7s and 11s and the 12s and the craps numbers. I want to get extra juice on those things. If I'm going to hedge, I'm going to hedge for more so that if the hedge gets engaged, I win on the hedge being engaged. I don't break even. So that's the one adjustment that I made. I went up a little bit in the numbers because I wanted to be able to do two things. One is I wanted to be able to win on the hedge hitting. Two, I wanted to have the 6 and 8 at 30 bucks so I could regress down and get a third number. So what you'll notice there is having those things higher, that first hit, I was able to rack 50 bucks and regress and pick up a third number. So I think that's the strength of what I changed, is getting a third target on that first regression. So one hit covers part of your action and regresses you down. I think that's the way to play this thing out for sure, not just leave those numbers up there for 2 hits. So with that said, I am done. Happy Friday. Happy birthday to my wife. I will see you all on Monday for a new series. We're going to start next week. I think next week I'm going to talk about this kind of play. We're going to talk about playing with house money and kind of roll this idea of playing stress-free in. Notice that today, there was no stress. It didn't matter what I rolled except for the point that you're ever sweating any roll. I like playing where there's no stress. It's actually a little bit fun. there's a lot of moving parts here that you have to think about, but other than that, no stress. So have a good weekend, all. I will see you on Monday. I'm dropping, I think, by the way, the Dice Control next video tonight at about 6. I may make it a premiere so I can watch it with you. Waiting for YouTube to approve it still, so it's still in process, but it's uploaded and they're doing their thing. So hopefully tonight we can see that one. And I think on Sunday or Monday, I'm not sure, when's the 15th? The 15th, I think, is Monday. Monday the 15th, we'll be dropping the next Fireside Craps and a new premiere of something very special. So I'll see you all twice on Monday and once later today. Have a great weekend, all. Be safe, good luck, and God bless you.